This is the video corresponding to lesson 4. In this lesson, we are going to study aging-related diseases that are target for Mediterranean diet. In the first group of diseases, we can find hyperglycemia, obesity, high blood pressure, and dyslipidemia. All of them are diseases associated with metabolic syndrome. In the second level, we can include the formation of atheroma plaque, responsible for cardiovascular diseases. And finally, we can add a third layer corresponding to cancer and neurodegenerative diseases. All of them are the family of aging-related diseases. Obesity is the result of a lack of regulation of body weight. Body weight is the balance between the energy we ingest with food and the energy we spend. Energy expenditure depends on factors such as basal metabolism, body activity, and temperature. The energy we eat depends on the amount of food and its composition. An imbalance between these two elements leads to obesity, that also associated to genetic caution and social habits. Body weight regulation is due to the action of the central nervous system and the different organs. The organs send afferent information to the central nervous system through hormones such as ghrelin, insulin, leptin, or adiponectin. With this information, the central nervous system produces an efferent signal through hormones such as pro-opiomelanocortin and thyroid hormones, which act on the different organs. The afferent hormone provides positive excess energy and negative lack of energy signal for the central nervous system to elaborate a response. Efferent hormones transmit signal to regulate the energy intake or expenditure and maintain the body weight. An alteration of this information or response pathway gives rise to obesity. The next disease is dyslipidemia. The transport of lipids in the blood occurs through lipoprotein. Lipoproteins are composed of a layer of phospholipid, lipid of an amphipathic nature, that is, they have a polar and apolar character. Protein called apoprotein appear in this vesicle, regulate the function of the lipoprotein and protect it from oxidative stress. Inside the lipoprotein are accumulated hydrophobic or apolar molecules. These components are triacylglycerol and cholesterol. There are four fundamental types of lipoprotein. Chylomicrons transport lipids from the intestine to the liver. They carry triacylglycerol. VLDL transport TAG from the liver to the other organs. LDL transport cholesterol from the liver to other organs. And finally, HDL is the one that transports cholesterol from the organ to the liver. Dyslipidemia occurs when LDL levels are high and HDL levels are very low. The fourth component of metabolic syndrome is high blood pressure. The circulatory system is made up of the heart, which pumps blood to the organs, the blood passes through artery with elastic wall capable of withstanding the surge of blood pumping, and the capillary distribute the blood in organs. The heart provides the pumping force, and the capillary give the resistance. Arteries dilate to maintain optimal pressure, and excessive pumping force or rigidity of the arterial wall produce an increase of the blood pressure. This pressure can be regulated in different ways. One of them is the concentration of sodium. High level of sodium increase blood pressure. Another element is the elasticity of the artery wall, which can be decreased due to the presence of atheroma plaque or increased due to nitric oxide. And finally, it can be regulated by the sympathetic nervous system, which produces a constriction of the artery. The atheroma plaque. They are found in the arterial endothelium. The endothelium is the inner layer of the artery. It comprises a monocellular layer of endothelial cell, a connective tissue layer, and a smooth muscle layer. Where there is an increase in the concentration of LDL, these particles are introduced into the connective tissue. And in the presence of oxygen, they oxidize LDL and remain attached to one of the glycosaminoglycan in connective tissue. Oxidized LDL particles are signals that attract circulating monocytes. They penetrate inside the connective tissue and become macrophage. This macrophage initiates phagocytosis of all LDL particles and become Schwann cells, which are filled with cholesterol. This cell also sends chemical signals to attract T lymphocytes that enter in the connective tissue and generate pro-inflammatory molecule. This inflammatory molecule attracts more cells of the immune system. Under normal conditions, excess cholesterol can be removed by HDL to liver, which transport cholesterol to the liver. When it doesn't occur, it can form the atheroma plaque. The Schwann cell accumulate the muscle layer, generate a fibrous layer that covers the Schwann cell, and a process of necrosis begins. When the necrotic body breaks, it generates a coagulation process that ends with the production of a thrombus. The thrombus can escape and cause clogging of the artery and a cardiovascular disease. An accumulation of protein in neuron causes neurodegenerative diseases. Under normal conditions, the ribosome produces new protein that, after correct folding, adopt the final native form. In some cases, this folding file produces poorly folded protein or misfolded protein. Sometimes this protein can aggregate and deposit in neurons if they are not degraded by autophagy or proteasome. Neurodegenerative diseases begin when the body cannot remove this add protein. In the case of Alzheimer's, it is an amyloid beta protein. Alzheimer's has other effects. Protein aggregation is accompanied by neuroinflammation, increased oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, and impaired cell signaling. The last disease associated with aging is cancer. Somatic cells are subject to a process called the cell cycle. In this cell cycle, cells divide due to the existence of protein called cyclin, which facilitate the cell cycle and cell division when activated. When blocked, they suppress the cell cycle. Mutation that alter cyclin so that it can always remain active, and therefore they produce an increase of cell proliferation, which gives rise to the tumor. All genes whose mutation cause cancer are called oncogenes. The immune system can generally kill a newly produced tumor cell. However, excessive proliferation generates a primary tumor, which through an angiogenesis process increase the number of blood vessels that supply glucose to the tumor. And finally, it is surrounded by a fibrous layer that protects against the immune system cell. This is the fibrous cap. Cancer occurs when a cell escape reach the blood vessel and circulate without being eliminated by the immune system. Finally, it goes a second location where it began to proliferate and produce a tumor, which is, in this case is in the secondary tumor after a process called metastasis. This video is a summary of the different aging-related diseases that we are going to study in this lesson. Remember that during the lesson, the idea is that you try to analyze during the class how the Mediterranean diet can help us to block or to retard or to prevent this kind of diseases. Pay attention.